All right, rock and roll. Welcome back to the Scorched Earth podcast. I'm your host, John. And I just got back to Los Angeles. I live in the mountains. We had a lot of snow when I left. We don't have much snow now. The weather has helped the firefighters. They've had a couple benefit concerts in the last couple of days, which is nice to help the residents and people so dearly affected by the wildfires. I think I'm going to go out to West LA tomorrow and kind of just see what it's like. You know, I went out to Altadena a couple of weeks ago, and it was horrific. It's so hard to really adequately describe what that devastation looks like. You just look and you look for blocks and there's literally like one house and everything else is literally scorched and devastated. And you think, in this half square mile area that looks like a bombing raid from Germany after World War II, you think, how do these people come back? And where are they now? It's a couple weeks, and unfortunately, these things are going to subside. The news moves on. The wildfires were a big thing, and then all of a sudden we have a plane crash in Washington, and then we have, controversy in the federal government, and, the story moves on. And these people are trying to rebuild their lives, and I don't know what that looks like. Hopes and prayers, I think of them, I pray for them, but I can't even imagine. I live in the mountains, like I said, and there's been a couple times where I had to evacuate. And it is such a come to Jesus moment because you have to figure out, what do I pack up? I mean, you can only get so much in your car, right? And you're holding out hope that you're going to come back and your house is going to be there. But do you take pictures? Do you take documents? It's very gut checking as you accumulate them and you look at it, and then you're in the car and you're leaving and you're wondering, am I going to come back? Is this going to be something I can come back to? And then honestly, the only way I could say to understand it is just drive to some desolate place, the desert, wherever, and just look at land and go, this is my house now. Like, there's nothing. I got to start literally from ground zero. And, they've also had a controversy out here of what to do with the burned ground. I mean, it's toxic. When a house burns, there's all kinds of metals and materials that burn with it. It contaminates the soil. California is actually a leader in clean air, clean water, clean soil. And there's an area out in Irwindale. This goes to show you what really the land thing is and the clean attitude is towards land out here. They had a rock pit, and they excavated rock, dirt, for concrete, for yards, for landscaping materials, whatever. And actually, I believe this is the rock pit that they were going to build Raider Stadium when the Raiders were here back in the 90s. And Irwindale offered them the land for free. They were going to build a state-of-the-art stadium and everything. And LA City Council, the powers that be, and let's not underestimate how ball-busting the Democrats can really be, stopped the stadium from getting built. Now wait for this. Because they couldn't get an environmental impact study on a pit. Like, wow. They were that good at slowing it up because the Raiders at the time were playing at the Coliseum, and they felt like, well, if they don't have anywhere to move, they're going to have to stay at the Coliseum. Well, the story goes that they eventually moved back to Oakland and then to Vegas, and, LA was without a team, but that's another story for the sports podcast. And so they were filling in this pit, and they literally, and I saw it, and I know a gentleman who worked there. It took them 4.5 years to fill in the pit. And what would happen is they'd bring dirt from places, construction sites, home builds, just different things. And they would have to run it through a screener and then reload it back into the truck so that the dirt was clean. It was an incredibly arduous process. And then as they were filling up the pit, I mean, we're imagining, I want you to think about this pit, a mile long, 3/4 of a mile wide, and a half a mile deep. That, I mean, this is just, this is bigger than the hole in Donald Trump's head. Okay? That's how big this thing is. And it's as vacant. Oh, lordy. But so they spent 4 years filling it up. And as they were filling it up, they'd have to compact all the dirt on every level as they went all the way up. And it was, from the estimates I was told, it cost $40 million to fill in the pit. But now they got a piece of land worth $400 million. So it is what it is. I don't know how we get to that. I enjoy talking to you about these things off the cuff, but we're going to talk about more about what's going on in our world today. First thing, another tragic plane crash in Philadelphia. 6 people passed away, including a Shriners patient. Going to Philadelphia, you're a Shriners patient, and then you die in a plane crash. Oh, that person's in heaven. I'm not sure I believe in heaven, but that person's definitely wherever the good place is. They recovered the black box from the American Airlines flight in Washington. One thing I had a vigorous debate about was President Trump's comments about not going to the site because, quote unquote, he wasn't going to go swimming. And I thought it was an incredibly snarky comment. I thought, 67 Americans died here, and you got to make an effing joke about going swimming. You could have sat on the runway. In 2019, the last major aviation crash, President Obama went to Buffalo. Okay? He went to Buffalo to honor the dead, and that's what you're doing there. Quit the goddamn comments and just being a little bitch. At the end of the day, these people died, okay? I appreciate the moment of sorrow, but the swimming comment, it's literally 5 minutes away from the White House. I mean, put down the Big Mac, fat boy. Go over there and honor those people. Jesus Christ. Get in the limo, okay? Head over there. Just do your photo op like you did in Washington Square when you got rid of the protesters so you could put up the Bible upside down. And just sit there for a moment of silence. Would it be that hard? Yeah, because you know what? It would be hard because that's the right thing to do. 67 people died. Americans died. But, a little less voter fraud, I guess. Unbelievable. So today starts Trump's new wave of tariffs. We got Canada and Mexico have a 25% tariff on goods. Trump was honest about what he said he was going to do, and he's implementing it. I'm not a fan of Trump, but in the political spectrum, I think there's 3 honest voices. Trump, and I don't like everything he says. I actually don't like almost any of it, but he tells you what he's going to do. I'm seeing all these Reddit posts about immigrants, and they're aghast because Trump is doing deportation or not allowing people into the country, and for some reason they thought it was only going to be criminals. You know what? Nah. He told you. He straight up told you. And they voted for him. From the latest polling data I have seen, pretty much 55-45, 53-47 in favor of the Democrat, but that's a typical margin that usually goes 70-30 in the Hispanic community for the Democratic. He told them what was coming. I saw a Reddit post today, and they were talking about, these people in Guatemala who want to join their families in Denver and other assorted places, and now the Visa app has been eliminated. I'll give you another little story here. I got a little brother, and he's lived in California his whole life. And he did some world traveling. He's an IT wizard. And he went to Europe 2 years ago. Last year, he decided he was going to go to the Far East. And he went to the Philippines. And he met this lovely young lady, Grethel. And they got married, had a child. And while she was pregnant, he came back to America. He came back in 2024, August, left back to the Philippines in December, and he voted for Trump in the election. And I was asking him, like, why are you voting for Trump? He's going to make this harder for your wife to come. And the arrogance of youth, and granted he's 35, he's a man. He said, no, that's not really going to happen. The Democrats are going to block it. There's going to be reconciliation. They're not going to be able to do anything. And I said, you're voting for a Republican, but you're hoping the Democrats are going to stop him from doing the Republican stuff? We didn't get any comment. That's how it is. But so I talked to him the other day, and when he went back, he said, well, she'll get a visa within 6 months. Now it's been pushed to 14 to 18 months. And I didn't want to say anything because it kind of breaks my heart. I love hanging out with him. But why don't we just put 48 months on it? Because he's an American citizen. His beautiful wife is a Filipino citizen. His child was born in the Philippines. That's a quagmire. I don't even know how you get back into America. Everybody who assumed, I can get there. We talk about the immigration invasion on the southern border, and that was incredible political hay. But from Homeland Security last year, 80% of the people who are illegal aliens here are overstaying their visas. And the problem is, because the immigration system was broke and Biden did not fix it, I'm going to give the devil his due, that, the visa is so hard to get. So when you get a 6-month visa and it's over, you're not going to get another one for 2, 3, 4 years. Come catch me. Come find me. I'm hanging out somewhere in California, whatever. We're going to see what Trump does. We're going to see what the deportation brings. But I don't even know how we got there on that. But we're talking about tariffs. So Canada and Mexico, 25% more. He did announce that he's going to increase even more the import of the tariff import tax on Canadian oil in mid-February. China got another bonus 10% FU. It's going to be interesting to see what this does to inflation in America. It's his economy now. We'll see what he does. CBS is reporting that late Friday, the Justice Department leadership was directed by the top Washington, D.C. prosecutor, acting U.S. Attorney Ed Martin, to fire the investigators who were assigned by their bosses at the DOJ for the January 6 rioters. So these people did what their boss told them, and now they're going to be fired because they did their job so effectively. Yeah, they did their job. They did it right. They honored their commitment, and now they're going to get fired because they did what they were told. I mean, think about it. You go to work, you do what you're told, and then you get fired because you did it so well. The FBI agents who were assigned to the January 6th case to investigate, to get information for the prosecutors, are now under review by the DOJ. I don't even know what you say. We all have a job. You do what your boss says, and then you get fired for doing what the boss says. I've worked in that company before. And the boss is the boss. Heavy lies the crown. But at the end of the day, How ridiculous is this? Also, Friday, NPR is reporting a second U.S. judge, this in the U.S. District Court of Rhode Island, ruled that the administration must pause its federal spending freeze. Now, yeah, I know you're saying, John, they already did that last week. Well, this comes by 22 Democratic state AGs and the District of Columbia's AG after, on Thursday, White House spokesperson Carolyn Leavitt said that the OMB memo to rescind it would still remain in full force and will be vigorously implemented even after the first judge's ruling. So it'll be interesting to see what Monday, Tuesday brings in terms of, will the Trump administration abide by the first judge's ruling and especially the second judge's ruling? Because there comes a point where, and you wonder, I hope we're not at that tipping point where they go, you know what, F you. We're just going to do what we want. I don't know how the judicial branch function of government enforces things. It's basically the executive branch and legislative branch that has control over law enforcement. And I don't know where we go with that. I'm kind of a little scared on this one. I really am. But let's not get over the moon. It's still the weekend. Have a margarita, have a whippet, whatever you're going to do, just relax. It'll be okay. Saturday night, I think it's all right. That's a quote from Elton John. And finally, in the brighter side of the news, we got CNBC is reporting Elon Musk aides locked out government workers out of their computer systems at the Office of Personnel Management. Now, this is an agency that is controlled by Congress. And somehow Elon Musk, who doesn't have any authority over it, was able to get in there and lock out the people from their computer systems. Now, one of the problems was these people also are dealing with cybersecurity issues inside this agency so that they don't get hacked. Now, Elon Musk has locked them out. There is no oversight in terms of personal security for that. Don't worry, it's the weekend. Hackers don't work on weekend, right? They're in Vegas, paying the resort fees, paying the parking fees, and going broke. Also, little side note here, David Leberich, the top-ranking U.S. Department official, will leave his post immediately after clashing with Elon Musk, after Musk asked for unfettered access to the payment system for the Treasury Department. How does Elon Musk get access to the Treasury Department? Now, it's only the Treasury Department. It's basically the money back of the entire United States. What is he getting in there for? Elon Musk has not been before any confirmation hearings in the Senate. He has nobody he answers to except maybe Trump, if Trump even knows what he's doing. And, Trump's too busy worrying about putting that Speedo on to go swimming in the Potomac to look for people who died. Doesn't want to honor it. All right. It's Saturday. Please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. I know we're new, but we're going to get there, okay? Love you all. Have a good day.